The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has today decided to award Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel for 2022 to Ben Bernanke, the Brookings Institution, Washington, D.C., USA, Douglas Diamond, Washington University University of Chicago, in USA, and Philip Dybvig at Washington University in St. Louis, USA. They obtained the prize for research on banks and financial crises.
Banks are for basically all of us a part of daily life. So financial crises are dramatic events. People run to the banks, bank runs appear. This can lead to banks failing, and this can spread like a wildfire to other banks and actually to the rest of the world. Bank runs led to bank failures, and this was the mechanism that turned a relatively ordinary recession into the depression in the 30s, the world's most dramatic and severe crisis that we have seen in modern history. So the ideas that we today recognize have proven to be invaluable also in modern times. During, for example, the financial crisis, when the laureates' work were turned out to be important to understand what was the cause of the crisis.
It did come as a surprise. I mean, people always talk about these things, but I was sleeping very soundly, and then all of a sudden off went my cell phone. Long and variable lag in its effect. There needs to be some regulation, and there may even need to be something like deposit insurance or ex-post bailouts. Even though these bailouts have problems, they, just like I mentioned in Lehman Brothers a minute ago, they could actually be good for society. So it's possible, but it's not necessarily desirable to never have a financial crisis. I think we will probably always be subject to low probability, unexpected crises.
I don't see that. So then, your interest, we hope to see you again in December when we have this year's laureates prize lectures. That will be on December the 7th here in Stockholm, where there also will be
Well, it comes in two parts, basically. One part is a theoretical contribution where Douglas Diamond and Phil Dybvig show that banks perform a very useful role in society by channeling short-run savings by consumers into long-run productive investments by firms. Now that very function also induces a vulnerability. So it's built on the idea that not all consumers want their money at the same time, but if they do, then that might lead to a bank run. So that's the same function is both why it's very useful to society, but it also leads to vulnerability. Now the other empirical part by Ben Bernanke shows that vulnerability was indeed a key factor in the Great Depression. So the fact that the banks were allowed to go under, that the financial system crumpled, was made the recession much worse and protracted than it could have been.